Welcome to Global Risk Community Chat. Today, our guest is Marius Poskus. I'm very happy to have you today here, Marius. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, of course. I appreciate you joining us today. Before we get into the topic, can you briefly introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, so my name is Marius. I work as a cloud security engineer, architect for Domino's UK and Ireland, and then been in kind of cybersecurity space for the last, quite a few number of years. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice, super nice. And what topic you would like to discuss with us today?
So I wanted to talk about, I think most of the companies now, they go in on a journey to building their security operations center. And I just wanted to kind of briefly explain how you can, interact with Mitre Att&ck framework and how you can use it basically to build a high-performing security operations center, and basically how to tackle that kind of use case.
Yeah, super cool. Well, the stage is yours. Go ahead. Maybe share some key things when it comes to this topic. We can start with that.
Yeah. So I think the main idea is the way kind of threat actors are changing nowadays. It's very hard to deal with attribution. So from general kind of use cases that we building been before is normally been building about kind of use cases in terms of indicators of compromise and you probably gathering threat intelligence through IP addresses or domain names. But these things, if people know in the audience, these things are what you call is a pyramid of pain, which threat actors can easily change and replicate. You can buy various malware kits, and you can buy various kind of ransomware kits where stuff like hash values, IP addresses, very easily changeable. So what we're trying to track nowadays is threat actor behaviors, and that's where Mitre Att&ck framework comes in. So if anyone is familiar with Mitre Att&ck, there's very cool tools on their website itself. But the idea is, and you can easily use Google to search. So to nail down sort of a few threat actor groups that would potentially be interested in attacking your company. So whether it would be by geographic, where you based basically in the world, or depends on the industry you're working in. So whether it's be finance, manufacturing. So you can build a sort of a few profiles of threat actors. Normally, I wouldn't go more than 5 or 6. And then you can basically go into Attack Navigator and build in like a heat map of attacks that threat actors would use against your company. And basically you can align and see, for example, Mitre Att&ck is very good in terms of you can match the colors. So the attacks that possibly, for example, match between 6 threat actors, you can match as the highest color. And this way you can do your own research through Attack Defender as well. What kind of logs you need to ingest in your security operations center to basically track those specific tactics, and then from there you can build the use cases around your analytics. You can build automation, how to respond. Once you kind of created a heat map and listed the techniques, you can map them, as I say, to the log sources, wrap analytics around them, and then probably the last piece of, once you reach a certain level of maturity, then you can go from sort of, I think first ideally is you map the log sources, and then you start building out your analytics. So how you can detect those attacks happening from that actors. Then we go into automation and maturity of the security operations center. Once we reach a certain level of maturity, we can start implementing deception technology. So if you map again the same heat map into Mitre Att&ck Defend, then we can go and start building things like honey accounts, honey pots, various deception techniques where, if you get attacked, potentially gives you more time to detect, whereas the attacker will go various rabbit holes and they won't reach your crown jewels, because that's the main point. You need to protect something that's very important, whether it's, you know, your customer data, PII, you have any car detail data, or, you know, whatever is your crown jewels in your company. So that's kind of the idea of how we nowadays build high performing security operations center.
That actually sounds super interesting, quite detailed as well, you shared with us. Perhaps would you be able to share some takeaway points, some easy to implement things that our viewers, if they are working on this area, can already start, you know, maybe thinking about when they are building a high performing security operations center?
Yeah, so first and foremost, as I mentioned, you know, if you Google just Attack Navigator, it's a very simple tool that you can overlay various threat actor groups and create sort of, as I say, a heat map. And kind of the beginning stages of it is, once you created a heat map, obviously, then you can see if you, for example, if you've done your research and you think you're worried about 5 threat actor groups. So when you created a heat map, look for matches. So if there is any techniques that matches all the 5 APG groups, obviously that's the ones you need to prioritize. So that you create your prioritization list from those matches. And then it's very easy. Once you, because all the techniques are numbered. So you got number T, and then you got a 4 number after it. So that's, each technique is basically numbered. So once you Google that technique, it gives you a log sources that you need to inject, and potentially a use cases that you can build analytics around. So depends on what kind of security incident and event management kind of a platform you use. I'm sure most of these are now aligning and switching towards kind of Mitre Att&ck. So you can build use cases and analytics, how you could detect those potential kind of threat actors.
Yeah, super cool. Thank you so much for sharing. We are running a little bit out of time, so I have only one more question left. And that is, how it is for you to be, in general, be part of a risk community? Because obviously, like, we talk about a lot about cybersecurity here, or how to, you know, prevent these attacks. So from your perspective, how do you maybe combine that with risk, or how it is for you to be kind of part of it?
I think essentially any business and anything that we do, it comes down to risk. So whatever we do, so for example, not having a SOC, or not having a high performing SOC, or not having SOC in general, it will be created as probably a kind of a high risk in your organization. So you can, and then obviously it goes down the risk prioritization matrix, how we, you know, solve these issues and how much resources we need to get there. So anything that we find, for example, our SOC now, we're getting more and more, for example, ingestion into various kind of data, into various aspects of business, but it all leads into the same framework, because what we find, we report it as risk, and then it goes into risk prioritization matrix. It goes against risk and how much, you know, risk acceptance, what's our risk appetite and what we're willing to accept and what we need to fix and how much does that cost, and then goes into prioritization. And that's how I think most of the business will run. Everything comes down to the business risk.
Yeah, thank you for sharing today. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, well, that's it in terms of our time for today, unfortunately, but I thank you so much for participating, and yeah, have a great day.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
Yes.